This stuff here, Yerushalmi Pesachim, in the article also addition on the top of Zayin Ralph, right? The top being the Gemara, and in the Vilna on Chav Gimel base, the Gemara, which was the beginning of Zayin. So we start with a bit of Agadata. Agadata in the Yerushalmi is rare. As I mentioned in the past, I would not be able to reckon this, but the Yerushalmi Kibshuta reckons and says that the Babli is 1/3 Agadata, even though it doesn't seem like that much, but 1/3, and the Yerushalmi is only 1/6 Agadata. So the Gemara says, how great is Shalom? Shukash Shnei Dvorim Shchelim Koris. And our mission is something which is only Mnei Shalom. So that's Eretz and Beis Chamav, the meal when you get engaged, which you hold in your father-in-law's house, is given the same severity and weight as two things which are Chiyuv Koris, as Ben Moshe explains. Together with Sudas Eretz and Beis Chamav, She'ena L'Mitzvah D'Rabbanan B'Al Mnei Shalom. Mashva, so the dinam elu these Chiyuv Koris. Allah is the same thing, which is Mnei Shalom, is very weighty, very significant, and it's given the same level of respect as things which are involved with Koris. Okay, says Gemara, Milas B'no Shchitas Pisco Mikodem. So Milas, it's Erev Pesach, you have to do a bris milah, you have to shech the Pesach. And it says, today you have to do both of them, Mi Kodem Mehen L'Mitzvah, which takes precedence. There's a very important Tuv Yerushalayim here. Tuv Yerushalayim says, these Chabdim of Oloshim, for Oloshim of difficulty, the Hamavuar, before you do bris milah on your children and your slaves. You have children and slaves in your house who are not come out. You can't do the Korban Pesach. So what's the question? Ablanias Daiti says it's going like a resident the Enamakiv cloud. That's not a impediment. Because it says then you'll be able to eat it only then. That's only going to the Evid himself. He can't eat from the Korban Pesach unless he hasn't been milah. In Shapim, Matzi, it's legitimate to ask me him. Okay, so and then we'll see the resolution. So the Gemara says, Amar Pinchas, Sifi Mo Lo Ko Zachar, Vaz Yikrav Laso. So, since it says you should do bris milah on your males, and then you'll be able, and then you should go to do the Korban Pesach, not because of chiyuv, because it's not a chiyuv. You don't have to do milah sabat of no kodim, but this is like telling us which takes precedence. For that purpose specifically, it's a fascinating idea. The teacher said milas beno takes precedence, comes first over shchitas pischa, again, not because it's a chiyuv like Rabban holds, but even Korban holds it's not an obligation. Nevertheless, it takes precedence. Okay, now the Mishbeach says there should be a pisca here, the Mishnah. That which it says it's in the Mishnah. Where is this here? Atzim yara gais v'chulei afil yochel lachzor levar. That should be the pisca from the Mishnah, but before we get to that, the Mishbeach asked an interesting question on the Korban. The Korban in the previous piece said, "Miso shchitas pisca mikol mir pesach on the todir v'noi kol shana." So I say the question is whether Pesach is considered to be Tadir and then it takes precedence, or Mila is considered to be significant because of Yom Brisos. But he says, why is it Tadir? Because you only do it one time in your entire life. So, and that the Shmir says a Pel and Carbonata, because Mila can have 20 kids and have it 20 times your entire life. And who knows? But still, Pesach's body is still more Tadir because not going to necessarily have a boy every year, but all right, whatever the case may be. The question was which is Kodim, where I said, plus we saw that was Kodim. Okay, now going on the next part, right? So, says Gemara about that part of the Mishnah that said that again, this was a Pesach again, which he wants to put in. I forgot. He says, lots of many guys, okay. So, says more, it's not, even if you can go back and be Mavir, right? And we go back and we go and be Matzio, right? It doesn't matter. We have enough time to go back, be Mavir, come back and be Matzio. We still tell you, don't take any chances. Just go directly to be Matzio. Don't go home and do a beer, even if you think you have enough time to do both. Conversely, though, in the last case of Mishnah, and Lishma Rishus, if that's your right way to do, we said Yachsim Yad, Afil Yachol Lelech Lishbos, V'lachzor, and next word, the Moshe changes from Ulevato to be Levar, because you only have to go back to Levar, not to be Levato. I'm guessing the article changes actually the text itself. The Mashbiach says there was obviously Rashi Tevis there, Vav Lamed Beis with an apostrophe, and whoever was decided to be Mefanech, the Rashi Tevis, to elaborate on it, change it to Ulevatel instead of Levaer. In the article changed it. In the Osvard, their text itself is changed. Okay, so without any without even parentheses, just straight out changed. So there and that anyway. Conversely, in that case, even you go back, even you do a shvisa, and it's halftime to come back then and be mavara afterwards, we don't let you do it. Say no, shvisa is rishus. The truth, you think you have time, don't rely on that. Go back, go do the beer first, and do the shvisa rishus later if you still have time to do it. The next word is changed by the Mashbiach and by the Yerushalmi Pesachim instead of She'ein to Mau. In the article in this case, they change it from a to She'ein to Mau as well, but with a parentheses and a brackets. Because so go figure whatever they decided, they decide some things to make change with this unilaterally without any parentheses and brackets, and some things to change only with parentheses and brackets. Okay, Mao Shvisa Rishus. So what's a Shvisa Rishus? It's a Rabo, it's a Mishagon Amen Chachma. So to go to your Rebbe, you have to somebody who's great in your Chachma. So despite the fact that there's a mitzvah involved, right? Nevertheless, we tell you not to do it on Erev and Erev Yontif. The interest goes one, but just because of Shalom, obviously we said earlier, was even on Erev Yontif, go do it, take care of it, and then they worry about doing beer afterwards if you have time to do it. Otherwise you'll have bittul. But this, which is Kabbalas Rabba, which evidently there's no Shalom intrinsically involved, we tell you no. First, to take care of beer before you take care of going to visit your Rebbe. The Yerushalmi Pesachim brings down that from other places as well, that the Yerushalmi calls something which has a tzas mitzvah or rishus, even though there's a tzas mitzvah involved. So the Gemara says, well, okay, I mean, it's not explicit Gemara, but the background for the next line. Okay, true, in terms of Maisa, perhaps it's a mitzvah rishus, but there's Talmud Torah involved. You're going to learn. You're going to your Rebbe, somebody's going to learn Mechachma. So why would you? There's bittul Torah involved here. So Kachshna Rebbe, here Rebbe taught us some Maisa Kudim Talmud, right? That you have to when you have to do a Maisa or you have to do or learning. So the bathroom of the Torah named Mitzvah Veres and the Sibir Chometz Mitzvah Veres. Here we see that the Maisa of this case that the Maisa, it's principle that the Maisa takes precedence over the Talmud. So, however, neither Bali is based Oris. Belud Hatam Koyim Maisa. And based Oris and Lud, they voted on this matter. It's a fascinating thing. Actually voted on it, and they said Hatam Koyim Maisa. And the company says the local Rebbe, but I don't think necessarily it's not like Rebbe because our Mishnah talks about a mitzvah veres, and it's about a person who is at a certain stage in life. There are other times when their Talmud is Kohen de Maisa, as we shall see a very famous statement after Yerushalmi, one of the most famous Yerushalmis we have. Rabbi Chanina Bray Yizke B'Tveria. So Rabbi Abo was sent. Rabbi Abo, I believe, lived in Katzrin, if I recall correctly, which is near Tveria. I don't know if we mentioned this recently, but very often Kesarin in the Yerushalmi is not Caesarea, our Caesarea, but it's Katzrin in the Golan. And I think there's actually, if I recall correctly, in Katzrin they found a lintel. This might be my imagination, but I recall they found a lintel from a door where it said Zeb Beis Midrash Rabbi Boon, Rabbi Avun, who was Rabbi Avo in the Bavli. Anyway, so the again this. My recollection might be mistaken, but sure, there's I think Rabbi Avo is Rabbi Boon, and that's where his base found for his base medrash. Anyway, so Rabbi Avo sent Rabbi Chanina Bray, his son. He's get Tveria to learn Torah and Tveria. Asked Amalei, they said, "Gamu Chesed." He's doing a lot of Gemilas Chesed. Is involved in doing Chesed. So he said, Shalach Umar sent Umar and said to him the following: Hamibli ain't kvarim b'kesarin shlachticha Tveria. Are there not enough kvarim in Kesarin, in Katzrin? Like I said, it was in Kesarin. To that I sent you to Tveria to do chesed there. So why do chesed? You could stay home and do chesed. There's plenty of chesed to do here. Might be a lot of dead people to bury. So clearly he's telling him you should be sitting and learning. Again, depends on the stage in life, perhaps, because this is a stage in life where he's supposed to be in yeshiva. So they already have voted and came to the conclusion. Elias Beis Aris, Belud, the Talmud Maisa, that you should be learning now. You shouldn't be involved in doing all this chesed. So it sounds like for the next word that almost if the Rabbanim Kisar were afraid, now who's going to go bury the Mason even by Kisarin? We have the people who's going to say, well, you got to sit and learn. So Rabbanim Kisar, they said that it's a mitzvah somebody else can do instead of you. But if there's nobody else to do it, then right? So like a mitzvah veris. So the Gadol Talmud made the Maisa, and Talmud's Kohen the Maisa, but that's only where somebody else can do the Maisa. Nobody else can do the Maisa, so then obviously you have to be able to stop learning in order to do that Maisa. Okay, Dilma, we have a story. Story proves the point. Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Ami Onun, they were late. Lemese Rabbi Eliezer to come to Rabbi Eliezer. On Avisu, they said, where have you been? Amalei Gamal Chesed, we were being going on Chesed. Amalon V'Lavach Taman Choranin, was there nobody else to do this Chesed? Amalei, they said Magor Haya. Magor Haya says, Ger Haya, Beretz Nachriya. He was a foreigner in a foreign land, meaning there was nobody else to deal with him. The Krovim Shisatzkabo, so since there's nobody else to deal with him, so then we went and we dealt with him, because in Malcolm there was it was a place, Ein Sham Rishiyaseh. Mashbiach says a fascinating thing. Mashbiach says, okay, so he was a foreigner, but still, there could be other people going to do it, especially it's a Mace Mitzvah, right? And there's other people, somebody's got to do it, and there are other people in the vicinity. Why after these rabbis? So he gives he says it's Magor. Magor is language in Tanakh. He says from Tehillim and Lamed Aleph and Yirmiyahu, many places, it says language Magor Misaviv, fear. He says that there are other people who do it, but they were afraid to do it. Evidently, it was a time when there's some pressure or persecution, and therefore there was nobody else to do it. So they were the only ones who were not in fear and were willing to do it. Beautiful shot. Yerushalmi brings down a wild girsa, which is from the Ma'arich. He says that the Yerushalmi says that so it was a shochin, and actually the Bnei Moshe means that Megoras can mean like Megoras Beisa. So that they, yeah, it's a different shot here, but could be somebody who was in Megurim in the same vicinity. So and it was because Tate Shalom that we went. And then he brings them with Charedim. Mitzvah say Medivir Kabbalah Medivir Seifim Atluyas Belev Os Chabes. He says Zechai Ban Likmo Chesed Lishchenav Lekrovav Tvei Mi L'Shar Adam Mevur Begmar Bavli Uvi Yerushalmi. So it's like Megoras Beisa, right? Appears by when they left Mitzrayim. They're supposed to be take the property to take objects from Shkentag Garas Beisa. So here too, we learn from Yerushalmi your principle that for you're more required to become a chesed to Shchenim and Klevim more than other people. So there are many different shatim here, like classic Yerushalmi. Magar means he was a ger, a foreigner. Magar meaning that he was there was a fear, and therefore people couldn't, nobody else to do it. They had to do it. And Magar meaning it was a neighbor from which he derived that you have to be nice to your neighbor, especially nice, do more chesed with your neighbors. Says the Mishnah, Chem Yishatim Yerushalayim, somebody left Yerushalayim. This guy Shisha Basa Kodesh. And he has members of his Basa Kodesh which now became possible because it was Yotzei. As the Kodesh says, so what does he do? So if you pass Mount Scopus, you burn it where you are. You didn't make it go back. You come back and you burn it. Habira means in the base in front of the base Hamikdash. As it says, Sofim. First of all, he says Sofim is not necessarily Mount Scopus. It means Koma Koma Shem B'Shom Morim is base Hamikdash. A place where you can see the base Hamikdash. But even then he comes, but he hasn't passed that point yet. He brings it back. You love close of a surfer to see Kodesh by Yisrael. Makom Achilaso, say a place where you eat it. That's where you're supposed to burn it. And the halacha is you don't have to use your own wood. You use the wood of the Beis Hamikdash. The Adkamim Chosrin to how much chametz you have to have in order to be chayzer, and hekdesh as well. Remember zev gazais to both sides gazais. Remember zev kibetza, both kibetza. I mean, basa kodesh begazais. Basa kodesh is shir is gazais, and chametz kibetza. As Kodesh says, pachas gabi b'chametz ibata b'libo. Basa kodesh suffering gomel. If it's less than these relative shurim, it's chametz kibata on the heart. If it's the basa kodesh, you burn it on the spot wherever you have it, even if you haven't reached sofim yet. Okay. The Gemara says, Rabbi Simon Shem B'Shem Levi said, eventually Yerushalayim is going to be expanded until the place where there'll be a name on the Metzilos Hasus. Metzilos sounds like you're saying on the shades of the horse. Kodesh V'Gomer. So what does it mean? The place to the extent where the horse can gallop and not make a shade. In other words, the horse always makes a shade until noon when there's no shade. So then the extent to which a horse can gallop from, I don't know, galloping, it doesn't say gallop, but a horse could go and travel from early morning till chatzos, till noon, when they're not going to be when he doesn't see shade anymore, that is all going to have the status of Yerushalayim Lasi Level. Of course, we've seen in our day and age Yerushalayim expand dramatically in all directions, and this should be continue to be a kiyum of this bracha. All becomes part and parcel of Yerushalayim. Okay, of course, big nafkaminas for many things, including Megillah, which they say we till Tezvav. Now today it's way outside of Yerushalayim, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so now the Gemara says a little bit of a cryptic Gemara. So we're going to learn like the Nir. Rabbi Shimon Yitzchak boy in Kodeshu. If it's Kodesh, in other words, if Lifnimi not Sofim, it's still considered to be Yerushalayim, and if we have to go back and burn it outside Racha, just burn it there. Why did we have to go back all the way to the, I'd say, to the Bira, to the base of Mikdash, just burn there? He goes, it's favorite Kukama. Says more, no. She can't feel be Yerushalayim, even Yerushalayim itself. So it says, so Lifnei Abir Ma'atzah Me'aracha. The din is specifically to do it in the Harbayis, from the Atzeh Me'aracha. So therefore, it's, therefore, even if you're in Yerushalayim proper, not just Minatzot and Lifnim, you have to go back and do it in the base of Mikdash. Okay, so Hahen Yotze Ma'atavli. Well, this case of Yotze, what's its status? Kimatame b'chutz or kimatame b'ifnim? Is it like basar karb, which came tummy in the azor itself, and or like basar karb, which came tummy outside the azor? As the commentator says, "Hayin Yotze Yotze the Ma'im Damilin Mitva Bazar Shem B'chutz Azor Nam Per Basar Shkolim Beish." Rabbi Kiva Omer, sorry. Kiva Omer Bakal to Masar Shalom Seifaso. The place where it gets tummy, that's the where you're supposed to burn it. So therefore, this we have this question by Yotze. So Rabbi Yotze said, "Since it's possible on account of its place, right? So it's bachutz. So it should be bachutz. So like we said, it's not burned Nazar, it's burned the Harabais. So the Rabbi Yossi said, Torah Dvar Torah. Said, wait a minute, it's the Raisa, it's Torah completely. Atu Shukazat love Tuma. Use a sermon that should have says atomic. You want to learn to make it like something which ain't tummy outside. So nothing make it tummy. So lo says lo derech shezayt tummy shayt make it chutz el ketame bifnim. It's like with that theme. Therefore, it's burned in Azora. And according to it says Torah Dvar Torah. The rice of basakor shiyotz a Torah. It's going to be the Torah. Rabbanan goes to Tuma. I'll call Psuli Kodesh. Shem Matami is your name. Never goes to Tuma in any Psuli Kodesh. It's the Matami in their hands. Lo that it goes to Tuma. It's not enough that you go to Tuma. Learn Lachmishu Matami B'chutz. You go to Matami B'fnimu. So B'fnim, and you burn it in the in Azor. So going further, our Mishnah. The Mishnah said that Meir says that Zeb Zayis. Rabbi said Zeb Zayis. East Tani. East Tani Machlif. Those who switch from Meir Rabbi Yehuda to Rabbi Meir. Change it around. And Rabbi Yaakov said Kim Mas Nisin. He said the proper girsa is like our Mishnah's girsa. Rabbi Yehuda said Simona. Either brachas. We have a similar to brachas, where we have a parallel machlokas. Akam Mazamni. To how much you have to eat in order to be part of a zimun. Rabbi Yehuda Akabetza. It says to the up to a beit. Sorry, I skipped. Al-Kazayis, up to Kazayis. So that's a mayor. You remember Kabetza. It says a Kabetza. So then we have a similar machlekes, and Mayor says it's Tanakama is Kazayis and Rabbi is Kabetza. So therefore, here our mission is to be that's the proper gersa as well. Okay, so the Mechel Maim says next question going to Rabbi Yehuda. I'm not sure exactly why he says it, but it could be going to the Rabban at the end of the Mishnah too. Tani Paulus Mikan Emachir Lev Shiachsir. If it's less than the Kabetza, then according to Rabbi Yehuda and according to Rabbanon for Rabbi Chometz, you don't make him be chayzer. So Ma Ben Zeh, what's the difference between this and this? In other words, the way the Mechel Maim explains it says, I understand. This is also be I don't know. It's really, I think it's going to Rabbanon. There's supposed to be kazayis because by Motzei is a share of a kazayis. So Basar Kodesh should be kazayis. Why is it only a kabetza? So by Motzei shayach for kazayis yeshlo bittul. There's bittul. So therefore Chazal said yes, even though kazayis are by Motzei, but up to Beitza, we assume at least up to Beitza, we assume bittul is a legitimate bittul. Perhaps more than that, we're not samech on bittul because perhaps not mevatel something which is choshev, but up to Beitza for sure. Mevatel we learn that bittul. Yes, akdum basar kodesh chametz minayin. So we see Basar Kodesh having no chametz. Now the Mecha Mayim changed the Gemara. He says that should be Akadun chametz. Basar Kodesh Minayin. Because we just established what the says about chametz. What's I don't know Basar Kodesh, but so where it says and that Amray Beisar Rabun Mimad Nidina L'Chein Mishi Yatzu Yerushalayim. So for this that one says that also somebody left Yerushalayim. Teach us whatever was true about this is true about that. So in other words, he says that the significance also for is determined by chametz is determined significance by Basar Kodesh. So I guess that is going to Rabbi Yehuda. That's perhaps Mechamayim says that's going to Rabbi Yehuda because he says Zebazek Kabetza. Why should both be the Kabetza? By Rabbi Motzei is up to is by Rabbi Motzei is on a Kazayas. So why do we learn Basar Kodesh from Chametz again according to the Mechamayim's Kirsta, which each Mechamayim's Kirsta, which changed it from Akadun Basar Kodesh Chametz Minayin to Akadun Chametz Basar Kodesh Minayin. It's saying that the Shir Bittul is linked to what's considered to be Chashuv, and therefore whatever is susceptible to Bittul is not considered to be Chashuv, and therefore going to be Huda even up to the Gebetza of Basar Kodesh. You can serve B'Koimo because if it's insignificance, you don't have to take it back to Yerushalayim and be served at Me'atzeh Marachal Lifnei Abira. I just went back and looked at it again. The other pshatim which don't change around the gears, of course, in the Kormei gives a very interesting pshat. He says, how do you know that you could derive from the Basar Kodesh that you burn the gates Me'atzeh Marachal Lifnei Abira that also chametz? You can burn matzah and marach l'meibir, but the article brings down that pshat. I think it says Reb Chaim brings it down. It seems very remote. It seems much more likely that Mechamayim's pshat, granted, requires reversing the gears, but that seems to be clear from the Gemara's answer because we're learning from the beer. It seems clear from the Gemara's answer learning from beer chametz to marach to basar kodesh, not vice versa. Anyway, that's the end of the parak, the end of the Yomid, so we'll stop here for today.